Given your career, how disappointing is it to you that we still remain in this position where this scourge of racist abuse directed towards footballers that we may have thought once upon a time as a feature of life in the 70s and 80s is still something that affects players today?
It baffles me. It's disheartening. In the 70s and 80s, it was something that was a lot more common. We went through a period where maybe it was under the carpet or was behind the scenes a little bit more, but now you can see the data is telling us that it's here and it's back. And we saw again in the Euros the aftermath when the three players, black players, missed penalties. What happened then? It's obviously disappointing, but at the same time, when those three black players for England missed those penalties, the first thing I thought was, let's see what happens on social media. And I expected what happened to happen, and that's the disappointing thing. And so when that is your mindset immediately after a black player who is representing the country, who is doing great things, and they make not a mistake, but they miss a penalty and they have to sit there and go through the abuse in the coming days via social media, it's totally disheartening. And that's where it comes to our point and to what we're here in terms of talking on the behalf of the football community, in that the players shouldn't have to go through this. And not only the players, but the people that are around them, their families, their friends, the various different types of supporters from all over the world, their children, and they're the important people in this as well, and the wider part of society and community that have to actually sit there and listen and see this. There's AI that is there for so many other different aspects on social media platforms. I've got a YouTube channel. We have copyright issues if we put a particular video up that we haven't had copyright approval for. That works. We can't find it here for certain emojis or certain words or the terminologies that are used on social media platforms. That's baffling. The technology is there. Well, when you sit at home and you on one of these devices that we've all got and that are in our hands probably 80% of the day, 90% of the day, and you look on there and there's negative discrimination on there, and that language is there and prominent for you to see. Self-esteem, your mental health is at risk, and it all depends as well sometimes where you are in your life. And some people are at a low ebb anyway, and then to see that as well just has further impact. Everybody receives this type of discriminative language very differently, but it does hurt. And again, it's important to stress it's not just about that person, it's the wider network of that person, what it does for them, friends and family. Me personally, I've seen members of my family kind of disintegrate at times with situations like this. When it happens, I've seen other sports stars, family members, take it worse than the actual person who's actually receiving this type of language through social media. And I think it's hard sometimes for people to understand, and some people say, oh yeah, but it's only coming on the phone, just ignore it, turn it off. And that's what a lot of the social media platforms say when you speak to them. It's down to the victim to report it or put the blocks in place through turning certain things off on your device so you don't see it. Well, that's not stopping the problem, is it? And I think that's an easy cop-out for the social media platforms when they put forward ideas like that in the way that we can kind of quash this situation.
Do you think that Facebook, Twitter, these channels are effectively profiting from prejudice as it currently stands?
I think they do. I think Imran spoke very well and eloquently about that before. Any type of conversation is profitable and is good for these companies. I'm a part of that ecosystem in terms of producing content that you want to be shared and liked. But if it's wrong, I think there needs to be things in place to make sure that it is dealt with properly.